everyone. Chairperson DeMarquis.
Here.
Mr. Corcoran.
Present.
Present. And Mr. Krasansky.
Here.
Mr. Marquis, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Governance Committee today, Thursday, June 3rd at 11 a.m. Our first order of business is to approve the draft minutes from our last year's meeting, June 4th, 2020. Could I have a motion and a second for approval of our minutes?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments, discussion? Hearing none, the minutes stand. Thank you. Okay, well, we always have a very long agenda on here. It looks like a lot of documents, so I hope everyone's had a chance to review them and go through them. And we'll dig right in. Our purpose is to review our annual review of a lot of our governance documents. Our first one up is the bylaws. You'll find that on page 7. There are no changes to the bylaws. I am just scooting down to page 12, if you would, with me. Page 12 in the whole documents, and I think it's page 6 within the bylaws. If we could just take a minute there as we scroll down. And I just want to draw everyone's attention and make sure that you have reviewed section 3, which is the governance committee. It talks about everything that we're going to review and what the purpose of this meeting is. So I just want to draw your attention to that and make sure that you have seen that as well as all the other sections. Okay, so there are no changes to the bylaws this year, so I'd like to have a motion to recommend the readoption of the bylaws as written. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion on the bylaws? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Our bylaws will stand for another year. You know, I usually start the meeting by reading the mission statement, but I missed it, so we'll save it for the end. Next up is our governance committee charter. Always one of my favorite documents. There are no proposed changes to this document either, but I would like to just bring again some attention to a few parts of that. If you could scroll down to page 16, which is page 2 of the document. And just confirming that everyone's had a chance to read through the committee authority and responsibilities. Okay, they lay them out. It's always good to review them and know that we do them and that you see them every year as well as throughout the year as our practice is. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that you saw them. Given there are no proposed changes, I am going to ask for a motion and a second for approval of our governance committee charter.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Our committee charter holds again. All righty. Give me a minute. Getting organized here in my new office environment. All righty. Next is our review of a number of documents. And our first one up with some changes is our Code of Ethical Conduct. I believe that starts on page 18. There have been a few language changes made to this document. Thank you, Maureen and team. The changes are not to the substance of the document, but to the use of his and hers type of language and cleanup. Maureen, do you care to comment?
Yes, there's just been a few other changes to add language recommended by the ABO. In number 7, under ethical standards, it clarifies that a person also cannot advise or assist another to make a financial investment based on knowledge they gain through their official position. So not only can you not, as an officer, director, employee, make a investment in something, an enterprise that may be involved in something that EFC may be doing, but you also can advise or assist another in making such a transaction. And then under conflicts of interest, it just provides examples of what types of things are conflicts of interest, which we all know and are comfortable with. So you don't want to do anything that is a true conflict of interest or may create an appearance of a conflict of interest. And both of those are treated the same under the code. That's it. And then, as Vita said, to remove any gender specific language. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing substantive.
Thank you, Maureen. I'm just going to use the moment. Next year, I believe, is our next ethics course again, right? Next year?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, great.
Okay, we'll be providing that to everybody.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm going to keep you on the loop there, Maureen. We also have some changes to our procurement of goods and services policy. Oh, no, we don't have changes to that. Sorry about that. Okay, well, the guidelines for procurement contracts will be presented, for the Code of Ethical Conduct will be presented to the full board for its annual review and approval under ID1 in the full board meeting. I'd like to call for a motion to recommend the approval of the procurement guidelines as well as the Code of Ethical Conduct, which will be presented to the full board in ID number 1. Could I have that motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Our fundamental policies and procedures, there have been no changes to the policies that have been previously approved as fundamental. Maureen, was there something that you were going to add here?
Yep, the only one change we made this year, and that was to add the statewide vehicle use policy that was issued back in October, came out from the governor's office. So we always include those in our fundamental policies every year. And then just informationally for the board, we will be reviewing all of these policies like Maureen did for the Code of Ethical Conduct to use the gender identity toolkit language.
You said it's a toolkit. Is that a program or something that you run the documents through?
Oh no, we had gotten a gender identity toolkit training thing in the agency that gives us guidance on use of proper pronouns in documents and in writings and in correspondence. So we're going to go back and look at all those policies and make those changes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to move us to the I'm going to move to the qualifications of appointed board members. As soon as I can find it. We have a lot of documents here. I hope everyone's had a chance to just brief through them and see them. I like reading through them every year. And I just like to ask and make sure that, all of our employees and everyone knows how to access these documents and they're available for people, right? Maureen McGrath? Yes, thank you.
Yep, all these policies are on our intranet site.
Yeah, I always like to confirm that. If you could turn to page 242. Qualifications of appointed board members. I always think these make us look pretty smart. the comment I'd like to add here is that not just one individual board member has to have all 8 of these qualities and be experts in all of them, but collectively we do provide insights and experience on these 8 qualifications. In addition, the diversity and prospective members of the board shall consider these qualifications when we look for board members. Is there any discussion on that? Charlie, Francis? I think Francis is talking, but I can't tell.
Sorry, Vita.
All right, I'd like to have us reflect on that for a moment. And next, we will move to our Board of Directors self-evaluation. I can't tell you how pleased I am with this evaluation this year. Great scores. And as I was telling Secretary Baines on our prep call, just by attending this meeting alone and by reviewing these documents, you're able to answer a majority of those questions of being aware of what our mission is and what our governing documents are and what our processes are. So that's why I always encourage all board members to attend this meeting and review these materials. Great self-evaluation this year, and appreciate everyone's time in getting these in. Okay, next I have the defense and indemnification provision noticed here. Were there any changes to that? No updates on this, correct? Okay, it was just called out to my attention. And I think that includes all of our documents in the fundamental policies and procedures. Are there any other questions on any that we didn't call out, specifically discuss? Okay, hearing none, then I would like to call for a motion to recommend the approval by the full board of the policies and the other required documents developed in connection with the governing committee's authority and responsibilities. Could I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
It's difficult taking turns motioning and being the second, isn't it, Reed?
It's a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. I know. Who's going to go first? Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Our recommendation passes. Thank you. Wow, we are really pushing through this agenda pretty quickly. All right, now we get to one of my favorite parts, which is the authority's mission statement and performance measurements. And in keeping with customs from Tim Burns, are you laughing at me because you know I'm going to read the mission statement?
He's probably
I would
laughing because
never
you're going to
laugh
make us.
at a director.
He's probably laughing because you're going to make us read it together again.
You were going to ask me to read it. I wasn't sure.
Well, I could really ask President Rubito to read it, but I'll let you pass this year, and I'll just do a quick reading of it, only because I think it's important that we read it out loud, and we have plenty of time in this meeting, this one. So.
I concur, Madam Chair.
Thank you. The mission of the Environmental Facilities Corporation is to assist communities throughout New York State to undertake critical water quality infrastructure projects by providing access to low-cost capital, grants, and expert technical assistance. A primary goal is to ensure that these projects remain affordable while safeguarding essential water resources. We support this mission by consistently using an innovative approach to developing and advancing new financial strategies to maximize the funding that can be made available to our clients, aiding compliance with federal and state requirements, and promoting green infrastructure practices. That mission statement pretty much covers every department of people that I see here, and is a great overview of our work. There are no changes to our mission statement and performance metrics, but I do want to just take a minute and look down the additional questions and just review them so that it's true. Because the board members acknowledge that they have read and understood the mission of the public authority. You can never say no after I read it out loud.
I do.
I don't want to read them all, but having drawn your attention to them, I just see that you are now reading them for sure. And so these answers stand as having been acknowledged and read by the committee.
Ibid.
Thank you so much. I always think it's just worth a moment to do that. And then with that comes one of our favorite documents, as brief as it is, the Performance Measurements Report, which is a wonderful 4-page snapshot of the past year. I was telling Secretary Baines yesterday in our prep meeting that this document makes all the work look so easy, right? Just makes it look like it's all summarized in one little paragraph of activities. But I want to take a moment and really thank everyone on this call, each department, and all of our employees and staff members who work so hard to make these 4 pages really shine and show the achievements of this organization. When you really take a minute to think about it, the really good work that we are doing for New York State and for our communities, and to have it summarized. So on behalf of the board, and I know Charlie and Francis may say something as well, this is always a great time to thank everybody for the achievements that get to be put in this report. So I just want to say thank you.
I second that. It just is, can't think of a more important activity, water, access, the affordability of in the state of New York. So no, I concur with everything Vita just said. Thank you.
Yeah.
Here.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Well, it wasn't too long ago that we decided to make this an hour-long meeting, and go figure, the first year I think we make it an hour-long meeting, we don't have over an hour, not even the whole half an hour of materials. And maybe President Rabito will chime in, but I do just want to point out and thank Maureen and everyone on the staff who's helping to change the languages. Joe for the, for taking the time and allowing these documents to be taken seriously and updated for their languages and for their clarity and all of that work. That's work that's being done in between all the other work that we do that's demonstrated on those 4 pages. So it is important that we look at these guiding documents and that we do keep them updated and that they do really reflect our process and our procedures and our governance.
No, and Madam Chair, I agree completely on all fronts. And I don't take this work and the deliverables lightly. They are a clear reflection of the work that's getting done and the service that's provided, not just by the staff, but the service provided by the board members who are taking their time to help lead this organization. Maybe the efficiency in which this meeting was run is a reflection of the efficiencies that we are working so hard to create in the programs to do more with less. So I think it's apropos that this meeting it was done in an efficient manner. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, President. I agree with you, feel the same way. And again, the kudos goes to everyone who has that hands-on job. to get it done and make it easier for us, the board members as well. Okay, I don't have another motion. I don't think I have to make. And then adjournment. Correct? Yes. All right, so with that, may I have a motion in a second? Harley and Francis, you're gonna have to fight it out.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I was going to make that motion, but I make a second.
Is there any discussion on adjournment? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Our meeting is adjourned for this year.
Thank you all so very much.
Thank you. Just so you all know, now that this meeting has concluded, I will remain on this WebEx. You can feel free to leave and return at 12 o'clock p.m. sharp. But like I said, I will be here in the meantime, but this will continue to run. And then I will see you all back here for the Board of Directors meeting promptly at 12 o'clock p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning or good afternoon, actually. Welcome to our June board meeting. Today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. Chairperson Stefanko, if I may call the roll, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Mr. Sokol.
Present.
Mr. Leary.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Corcoran.
Present.
Ms. DeMarquis.
Present.
Mr. Krasansky. And finally, Mr. Stefanko, we see that you're here. Mr. Krasansky has not joined the meeting just yet, but we do have a quorum.
Great. Thank you, Tom. First item on the agenda will be the approval of the draft minutes from the May 13 meeting. Can I have a motion, please?
I can make that motion, move it.
Thanks, Jim. I think that was Francis with the second. Thank you. All those in favor, if there's no discussion?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I would just like to acknowledge Mr. Krasansky as present in the meeting.
Yep. Thanks, Thomas. That's on. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So the draft minutes have been approved. Since I have nothing to report, we'll move right to the president's report. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Greetings, board members, colleagues, and those tuning in. I can report out on a couple of items today of note. Given the significant progress being made and our world's opening up, if you will, we've established a working group led by Heather Grohl and representatives from our 4 divisions working on a return to work plan, obviously based on the current federal and state recommendations. And we are awaiting guidelines from the Executive Chamber and the Governor's Office of Employee Relations for our review as it relates to further expanding staff presence back in the office. Something we're all looking forward to. And thank the team. I thank the team for going through that effort to make sure we do it right and keeping safety as a premium for the team and visitors here. During our EFC 2021 town hall a couple of weeks ago, and in various conversations I've had with staff over the last 5.5 months, concern has been expressed over limited number of internal promotion opportunities in recent years for staff. So I assured staff at that meeting that any internal candidates that met minimum qualifications would have the same opportunities as external candidates. We've put that into practice on our current recruitments. And to that end, I'm happy I could announce today that our effort to backfill and bolster finance and accountability, we have promoted 3 new financial analysts. We hired another 4th from the outside, but the 3 from inside were all existing EFC staff. Were in fact internal promotions, all well earned, I might add. So just a congratulations and a shout out to Erin, LJ, and Shelley. And we are really looking forward to the fruits of their labor and seeing what an extraordinarily good job we know they'll be doing. So the management team is not just saying things, we're doing things. And I think we're all feeling good about that. And we're certainly happy for Erin, LJ, and Shelley and the finance shop, which now finally has some horsepower, if you will. Also, really pleased to talk about our first engineering internship program in the history of EFC. It has begun. A total of 5 new team members will be joining us as interns. I believe 2 or 3 have started. The others are imminent. We are committed as a management team to make this a meaningful experience, to help these folks not just start building their body of work here at EFC, but hopefully beginning a pathway to add to our ranks. And I was very pleased with the type of interest, the diverse interest, folks wanting to come to New York State to participate in what I think will be an extraordinary internship. So we are very pleased, again, as a management team, to be able to get this off the ground quickly. And I'm expecting good things from these young professionals. And I think we will benefit as a management team from their presence as well. And then finally, we continue to follow the negotiations of the infrastructure bill down in DC. We are preparing. We know it will be something. And we know it will be a challenge. So we are not waiting to see what it exactly is as we begin preparing and readying ourselves, both from a human capital standpoint and a process standpoint, to hit the ground running assuming when all those resources become available to us, to move them from us and into the communities as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So I'm pleased, Mr. Chairman, to report on these issues. And I thank the board for their continued support. But that's all I have today, Joe.
Great. Thank you, Joe. All right. We did have a committee today. The governance committee met, chaired by Vita DeMarchi. And Vita, there'll be a few board actions taken before we get into the resolutions. But Vita, why don't you, if you'd like to give an overview, and then we'll move right into the agenda.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Mr. President. That was great news to hear, and I could see the smiles on engineering and the financial department people. So congratulations to everyone. We had our annual governance meeting today, in addition to the formalities of approving our minutes. We also conducted our annual review of various governance documents. We reviewed our bylaws, which have no changes this year. So the governance committee received and reviewed a copy of the corporation's bylaws. There were no proposed changes since the bylaws were last approved, and it is the recommendation of the governance committee that the bylaws be readopted by the full board. Mr. Chairman, would you please make a motion for the readoption of the bylaws as presented?
Absolutely, Vita. Thank you. So I'll take a motion for the readoption of the bylaws. Thanks, Francis. Could I have a second?
I can
All
second
right,
that.
Roger. Thank you on that. Actually, we got a vote. So all those in favor, unless there's additional discussion?
Aye.
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 Great. Unanimous. Now, Vita, move on. You can go on to the charter, please.
Thank you so much. Yes, the governance committee reviewed the governance committee charter with no proposed changes since it was last approved on last year, June 4th, 2020. And it is the recommendation of the governance committee that the governance committee charter be adopted by the full board. Mr. President, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jim.
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Unless there's additional discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous. Let's see, Vita. The next one is the ethical code of conduct.
Well, next
No?
we reviewed a number of documents pursuant to the committee's authority and responsibilities as referenced
Gotcha.
in
Yep.
our committee charter, which includes the code of ethical conduct. And we did discuss some of the language changes related to gender identity, cleaning up that language. So there were a few modifications in it. We also reviewed our procurement of goods and services, and that will be addressed in ID number 1 coming up. Additionally, we reviewed a full suite of fundamental policies and procedures, and there were no changes with the majority of those, any of those documents. We also took time to review the qualifications of the appointed board members. And we also reviewed the compiled results of the board performance evaluation. And we acknowledged the policy regarding time and attendance, as well as defense and indemnification statute covering state officers and employees. So with that, it is the recommendation of the governance committee that the full board approve the documents developed pursuant to the committee's authority and responsibilities. Chairman.
Thank you, Vita. Could I have a motion, please?
I can make that motion.
Chairman, thank you. Thank you, Jim, for the second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Great, unanimous again. I think the next item is the mission statement.
That's correct. We took time to look at our mission statement and read our mission out loud, which has become my custom. There are no changes to that. So we are proposing that we approve the mission statement and performance measurements. Chairman?
Thank you, Vita. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Francis.
I'll second.
Thank you, Charlie. Unless there's additional discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Great, unanimous. Vita, thank you. I think that's all of the items.
That is all the items that require a motion. And then just lastly, we did spend some time on the performance measurements report, which reflects the period of April 1st through March 31st, 2021, April 2020. And just again, calling people's attention that didn't attend the meeting. That is a great short, brief report that really reviews the accomplishments of EFC over the past year. So we spent some time discussing that and thanking all of our team and employees for their contribution over the year. And that is it. That concludes my report, Chairman.
Thank you, Vita. Greatly appreciate you chairing the governance committee. All right. Unless there's any unfinished business any members would like to raise, we'll move to resolutions. Thomas, resolution number 1.
Sure thing. Resolution number 1, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation with respect to the annual review and approval of the corporation's procurement contract guidelines and procurement contracts report.
Thanks, Thomas. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Charlie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. Maureen McGrath will be the presenter.
Hi, everyone. Once again, before you this year are EFC's procurement contract guidelines that establish our core policies and procedures to ensure effective and compliant procurement practices. We modeled these guidelines after New York State Procurement Council's procurement guidelines, OSC, State Authority Contract Manual, the Public Authorities Law, Executive Law, State Finance Law, and any other state regulations that are required to be in there. EFC's key procurement principles are compliance, effectiveness, efficiency, and economy in connection with the purchase of goods and services. Compliance with the procurement process ensures that all employees and participants that the interests of EFC, the state, and the taxpayers are protected. We have the proper oversight of our procurement activities, including appropriate checks and balances and fair and open competition, and achievement of EFC's objectives, that safeguards are in place to protect against fraud, favoritism, or unethical conduct. And these are reviewed and approved by you yearly, and there are no changes from last year's version.
Mr. Chair, you're muted.
My apologies. Thanks, Maureen. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2.
Resolution number 2, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation with respect to the annual review and approval of the investment guidelines and the investment report of the corporation.
Thank you, Thomas. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'll second.
Thank you, Vita. Albert is the presenter.
All right, thank you. So before the board, we have our investment guidelines, which set forth our policies and procedures regarding EFC's investment holdings. The investment objectives are compliance with all federal and state legal requirements, minimalization of capital risk, the realization of liquidity sufficient to meet purposes for which the funds are being held, and then finally, the maximization of investment returns. We've made no changes to the investment guidelines this year, which were presented last June. And there have been no changes at the Office of the State Controller's investment guidelines for public authorities, which would warrant a change. Any questions on the guidelines themselves? Okay, next we'll move on to the investment report, which is required to be presented by the investment guidelines. So in order of the items of the report, the investment guidelines are attached to Resolution 2834 and were last reviewed and approved on June 4th, 2020. Item number 2, the annual audit for the state fiscal year 2021 is ongoing, and the results will be presented at the June 24th board meeting. Investment income record. So the investment income is listed on the draft statement of revenues, expenses, and net and changes in net position on the following page. The preliminary year-over-year investment income declined from approximately $110 million in state fiscal year 2020 to about $71 million in this state fiscal year 2021. And as we discussed in our review of the 2021-22 budget and financial plan, there's been a significant decline in short-term interest rates from the past state fiscal year. And to meet our investment objectives, you can see that on that last page of the investment inventory report, over 50% of our investments are held in short term. So this results in lower reinvestment rates as those investments turn over. And as we'll discuss at the audit committee meeting later this month, EFC's financial position remains strong and our ability to fund our programs has been unimpacted. Item number 4, no fees or commissions have been paid for investments during fiscal year 2021. And item number 5 is the quarterly investment report for the year ending March 31st, 2021, which is attached and shows EFC's holdings by account and security type.
Thank you, Albert. Discussion, questions? Okay. All those in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Resolution number 3, Thomas.
Yes, resolution number 3, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation amending the prior authorizations for financial assistance to be provided by the corporation to certain recipients in connection with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund.
Great. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
Make that motion. I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you. Can't see who that was. Presenter is Audra. Kim, thank you.
Okay. We have two drinking water projects in this resolution. Both of them are amendments to authorization. The first is for the town of Granby in Oswego County. You can see it on the map there. This is a funding increase. They are working on a distribution system extension for water service area number 7. The overall cost of the project has increased and additional funding is necessary. This has come through the board before, but before we were able to close an agreement, they got some costs in, costs had increased, and therefore we held off executing to not kind of have to go through that process and have them incur the cost of that twice. They do have a WIA grant on this. And construction bids of the project were in excess of the bond resolution authorization. They renewed their ban to bridge the financing needs. They got their bond authorization in place, and now all the pieces are in place. So we're coming back around for the sufficient approval from you as the board. And then the second project in this resolution is the Village of Newark in Wayne County. They're upgrading their water treatment plant and upgrading storage. The overall project cost has increased. It closed originally in 2018. At that time, we had mostly estimates in the budget. As they've been working along and building the project, many of those costs are now bid and known and higher than the original estimates that they got started with. So we are adding additional subsidized financing, an interest-free piece, and a market rate piece. We've currently dispersed just over $5 million, and they are currently working on this. There's no change in scope, and the financing will mature in 2023. So that is the two projects in this resolution.
Thanks, Audra. Any discussion? Questions for Audra? Outstanding. All right, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous. Thomas, resolution number 4.
Resolution number 4, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation making certain determinations and authorizing certain actions in connection with the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing financial assistance payments to certain municipalities to fund eligible drinking water projects from funds appropriated from the New York State Water Infrastructure Improvement Act.
Okay, have a motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Vita.
I can second that.
I think that was Roger. Thank you. David will be the presenter.
Okay, hello everyone. We have 3 projects, 3 drinking water projects today. First one is the Village of Mexico in Oswego County. This project will be receiving a short-term market rate financing, $4 million, and a WIA grant of $3 million. Project is for a new 500,000 gallon finished water storage tank to replace an existing aged tank that's beyond its useful life, that has lead paint coating and severe corrosion issues. Project also includes new water mains to replace severely aged mains in critical areas of the village. Those areas contain mains that are 100 plus years old. And new water main replacements will include hydrants and valves, and also approximately 60 new water services that contain lead components.
Thanks, David. Discussion, questions for David?
Okay.
Excellent. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous. Resolution number 5.
Resolution number 5, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation amending the prior authorization for financial assistance to be provided by the corporation to a certain recipient in connection with the Disaster Relief Appropriations Act of 2013 and the Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
Can I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second.
Thank you, thank you. We are back to Audra as a presenter.
Yep. This is one project in this resolution, the town of Highlands in Orange County, seen there on the map. This is simply an extension of the financing maturity date. This originally was a storm mitigation loan program project, and along the way, we added some market rate funds to the financing for the project. They've dispersed approximately $2 million so far. They will be done with construction later this year, but we wanted to extend it so that we can get them to our next pooled leverage financing, as the non-smelt portion will be leveraged in a bond deal. So we want to make sure that we can make it to that next deal so that we can close them out in long-term fully.
Thank you, Audra. Questions or comments? Great. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous again. Resolution number 6.
Resolution number 6, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation amending the prior authorizations for financial assistance to be provided by the corporation to certain recipients in connection with the Clean Water State Revolving Fund.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Thanks,
second.
Steve. Thank you. Audra again.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Okay, we had 3 projects in this resolution. The first one for Livingston County Water and Sewer Authority, working on the Lakeville Wastewater Treatment Plant improvements. The costs have increased, so we are looking to increase the interest-free financing that we have in the project, and they're also looking to modify the project scope slightly. That's Livingston County. The second one is the Village of Red Hook in Dutchess County. They closed again with estimates, and as they're moving along and bidding, the bids came in higher. We're adding additional interest-free financing. This originally closed in 2017. We added WIA in 2019. They're now expected to complete in December of 2022. So you'll see that we are extending that maturity date also out to allow them time to complete all their construction and document collection to get them to long-term. And then the third project here is for Suffolk County. This project is planning and design of the Suffolk County Coastal Resiliency Initiative projects. You'll see them listed there. And this is just an extension out to March. They are working on they need sufficient time to complete the planning and design, including district formation and a passage of some bonding authorization required before they go to construction. So that's the 3 projects in ID number 6.
Thank you, Audra. Questions or comments? Standing. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Resolution number 7.
Resolution number 7, a resolution of the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation making certain determinations and authorizing certain actions in connection with the Clean Water State Revolving Fund and authorizing financial assistance payments to certain municipalities to fund eligible clean water projects from funds appropriated for the New York State Water Infrastructure Improvement Act.
Great. Thank you, Thomas.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Charlie. Rita, I think I heard a second there. Thank you. Presenter will be Tim.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Actually, it's good afternoon. Yeah, so today we have 6 projects with pursuing both CWSRF financial assistance and authorization for New York State Water Infrastructure Improvement Grant authorization. I'll take it totaling just over $20.4 million. I'll take you through them individually. City of Lockport in Niagara County. They are undertaking a effluent disinfection project. It's a short-term financing. It's project is being driven by a DEC speedies permit compliance requirement. $2.593 million of CWSRF financial assistance, along with authorization of a $531,250 water WIA grant that was awarded in December of 2019. Next. Village of Perry has two projects, both in Wyoming County, Phase 1 and Phase 2. This is the Phase 2 project. It's the Phase 2 project. They're picking up the work on that was not done in Phase 1. It's a fairly large project, $8,636,043. They will be increasing the flow of the treatment plant, putting in UV disinfection, pursuant to a DEC permit requirement. And just, you've heard me say that over the past several years. DEC has been requiring that through all of their upstate treatment plants. So that's the driving force behind that initiative. They're also making trickling filter improvements, installing phosphorus removal equipment through the installation of chemicals to precipitate out phosphorus, installing a new aerobic digester, and dewatering press. Next project for Perry. Oh, okay. I guess we're sticking with all the long terms right now. Queemans, town of Queemans, just south of us here, doing a long-term project. They are experiencing sanitary sewer overflows in the collection system, which also impacts the treatment plant. They're under a DEC consent order. They completed the project and will be finalizing with a long-term loan for $746,481. Second Village of Perry project in Wyoming County. They completed Phase 1. Phase 1 work was new headworks, in particular new screens, grit removal, then installed 2 new aerobic digesters, installed a composting facility for the solids that are removed from the wastewater process. They also did work in the collection system to replace some line sewers and has been replaced a few manholes. And this project was started with a engineering planning grant as well, the Village of Perry project. Just want to bring that up. Village of Westfield in Western New York. They are looking at authorization for a long-term financing. They completed their project. They did aeration system upgrades, grit removal system installation, made improvements to their final settling and solid handling equipment. They also installed a new septage receiving station to bring septage waste. It's an additional source of revenue, and it also responsibly treats that waste. They also relined lagoons. They had an existing UV disinfection system, and they're replacing that, and they're making improvements to their sludge pumps and replacing a roof. A $4,630,914 long-term interest-free financing. Last project before the board this afternoon, Town of Ramapo. This is a WIA grant only, so there's no SRF loan component. They received a $1,325,000 WIA grant. It is for sewer installation and manhole replacement. Any questions?
I have a question just on the last one. I guess the write-up, I wasn't clear if it was totally replacement or extension of the sewer system. It sounds like it was just replacement.
Just bear with me one second. It's a combination of, they were extending sewers into a community. The Village of Kaiser, they're providing service to some parcels within the Village of Kaiser that are currently not sewered, and then they're replacing an undersized sewer from an 8-inch to a 12-inch pipe that was not sloped properly and was causing some backups.
Got it. Thank you. You know the other funding they have, like you said, is a big municipal contribution in the CDBG grant. So Very good to
Yeah.
see other money coming in. It's great. Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions or comments for Charlie or Tim? Okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, that concludes our resolutions. Any members have any new business they want to raise? Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Sure.
I believe Audra wanted to mention a project that's in New York, a New York project that we've been working on.
Yes,
Absolutely, go ahead.
I just wanted to briefly remind the board a few months ago, we came to you for authorization for a bond deal and it's coming up. We are pricing in the middle of this month and just mention that we are moving forward with just the refunding piece of that deal right now to take in the savings for our partners at New York Water. It's sized at about $287 million. And just mention that the new money piece will wait. We haven't dispersed all of it. We are working through resolving some programmatic requirements related to some EPA provisions, but just to give you a heads up that will show as a timing issue on the financial statements you will see for next board meeting, and Albert can answer any questions about how that is, but I just kind of wanted to give a heads up so when you see the materials for next month, you'll be aware that that's related to a timing issue on drawing our cap grant.
Thanks, Audra. Does anyone have anything for Audra on that? Okay. Next board meeting will be Thursday, June 24 at 12. It will be preceded by Finance Committee at 10:45 and Audit at 11:15. I get a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you, Francis. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vita. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye.
Thanks.